guys, and welcome to heli setup, the third video. As you can remember, in the first video we fitted the servos and the servo horns, and in the second video we made sure that all the sub trims is ready for the hardware setup into the heli head. Today we are basically going to be setting up the head, making sure that all the hardware setups for the head is correct. We are probably going to be needing a swash plate leveling tool, and then I had this little tool made by the local hobby shop Guns and Gifts, which is a little spacer that will just facilitate the spacings of the swash plate. So I've worked out the distances beforehand, and what this will do is it'll tell me precisely where the swash plate needs to be or the position of the swash plate needs to be. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is get the head assembled and get the main gear installed. What I want to do firstly is check that the collar on the shaft is the correct distance, so that I don't have any play on my rotor head. Okay, so without any further ado, let's just get that sorted and get it out of the way. Okay, as you can see, I've now fitted the rotor head. The main gear is in. You can see there it's turning, and do notice that there's no upwards downwards play on the main shaft, and you get all the play out with this collar in the bottom there. Okay, what's going to happen now is I have to connect all these linkage rods to the servos, and then I'm going to be using this tool. Now earlier on I said I had this tool made. Now these tools are actually commercially available, so you can actually buy these spacer tools. I was just in the fortunate position that the guy in our local hobby shop can make these, so I had it made. Then after that we're going to be using this to level the swash plate. For that I have to remove the top part of the rotor head on the top there, and once I've done the spacing, and once I've removed the rotor head, I'm going to be just showing you how this little thingy works. This is also available from the Wi-Fi site. You can just browse under the tool section there and you'll see it there. Okay, so I'm just going to connect all my servo linkage rods on, take the rotor head off, and just use a spacer to get the spacing on the swash plate correct. Okay. Okay, so what I've done now, as I said, I removed the rotor head, but before I do anything else, I actually just want to show you what I mean with you need to level the swash plate. As you can see, the swash plate is not very level. If I turn this way around, you can possibly see it better. Okay, as you can see, the swash plate is not very level. My servos are at 90 degree, as you can see. All the servos are at 90 degree, but the swash plate is not level. The other thing is, as you can see, the swash plate is not at the correct position. As you can see there, this little block cannot go underneath the swash plate. If I put my swash plate leveler in from the top, you can see there as well, it's definitely not level at all. So what I have to do now is I need to lengthen and shorten all the different little links going to the swash plate to get the swash plate level. Word of caution though, try and get your thread going into your link the same distances on both sides. So don't fully extend the one side, but leave the other side screwed into the link. Try and give them as equal a thread on both sides of the ball link as possible. The reason for that is you might find that if you unscrew the one too far, it will actually pull out from the rod. The ball link will actually pull out from the rod, and believe me if I tell you that that is one thing that you're not wanting. Notice that my stick on my radio is set to 50%. So at 50%, my servos are 90 degrees. Okay, as discussed with the subtrim video on heli setup part 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lengthen these rods so that this fits in, the spacer fits in, and then with this on top of the rotor, that my swash plate will actually measure level. Okay, now if you don't have this, if you don't have the tools like this, you will have to make sure that your swash plate is 90 degrees to your shaft on all sides of the swash plate. Okay, so if you look at it from this direction, it has to be 90 degrees. If you look at it from this direction, it has to be 90, and look at it all round. Okay, if your swash plate is not 90 degrees, you will find that the helicopter will move to either one or other direction. Okay, so I'm just quickly going to set this up, and then we'll continue from there. Okay, so now I've got the space right that I know that the swash plate has to be, and I also have leveled the swash plate. As you can see, all these little arms touches on the swash plate. Now another thing that I would just like to make clear is that when you level your swash plate, when you've got your pitch full negative, all 3 arms must touch. When you've got your pitch full positive, all 3 arms must touch. So you have to be when you set it up, make sure that your swash plate moves up straight and doesn't move up at an angle or moves differently. Okay. Now if your subtrims wasn't correct, you would get that the swash plate would drift from side to side as it moved up and down the shaft. So chances are, if you see that your swash plate leveler stays level all the way from the top to the bottom as you move the swash plate up and down, you know that your subtrims are 100% correct. Okay, so what I want to do now is going to affix this, the rotation lock on the swash plate, and I'm going to be putting the head back as well, and then we're going to start further on the setup of the head. Okay. Okay, so now I have fitted the rotor head, and now as you can see, I just want to bring this a little bit closer to the camera. As you can see, okay, my transmitter is on, and you can see that these arms aren't at 90 degrees. The washout control arms, they're not set to 90 degrees. So what I want to do now is I want to set these little links so that these arms are set at the 90 degrees. Okay, so I know that my space here is okay. If I move it down a bit, I can see I can move it to 90 degrees, but then the swash plate is going to be too close to the body. So what I want to do is move my servos again to the 90 degrees angle. I know that this space is at the correct height, and so I need to set these smaller links so that these are set at 90 degrees. Okay, the same goes for, just going to try and see, the same goes for the pitch control arms. As you can see, they're not set at 90 degrees. To make them 90 degrees, I'm going to lengthen or shorten, depending on how it is. Going to lengthen and shorten these things, these arms, until the pitch control arms are set to 90 degrees. Okay, so that's the next thing that you want to do, is to get everything on your head set to 90 degrees. Okay, so let's get started on that, and then we'll get back to you. Okay, so now to recap, I've leveled the swash plate using a swash plate leveler. I've done it with an eye before, but it's better to do it with the swash plate leveler. And I've also set the spacing using the special tool that I had made to set the correct space on the swash plate. If you do not have the blade, it becomes a bit more difficult because you'll have to connect your radius arms and see where the center is on your washout base. So the base has to stop about 1 millimeter from the top, and then you'll have to find out precisely where the washout base is in the center of this system. Okay. The other thing then what I did was I made my washout control arms, I set them to 90 degrees by changing these two rods connecting to the flybar control arm, as well as I've set the pitch control arms to 90 degrees by setting these long links coming straight from the washout the swash plates to the pitch control arms. Just one thing that I would like you to notice is that when you set your pitch control arms, please be sure that your flybar is actually at a 90-degree angle as well. On some helicopters you can stick a small Allen key in there which will lock the flybar for you while you work on it. Okay. Then the last thing that just remains is that with your swash plate or your throttle sticks or your pitch sticks set to 50%, you need to set your pitches on your blade grips or your rotor blades. The pitch on your rotor blades you have to set to 0, and that you do with these two links here. As you can see, I hope you can see here, but they're pretty close to 0 as it is. Okay, so I know that my setup at the bottom is pretty much set. Okay, so thanks for taking this journey with me for setting up this heli head, and I'll see you next time.
Take me